How's everybody doing today? Greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking a little time out of your day to join us this Tuesday. Here we go, less than a week away from the Monday Night Football game in Ford Field that may just burn down the town and tear it all to the ground. That's right, Ford Field is going to be packed, as we're probably all definitely aware of. Sorry, let me turn some things down here. As the Las Vegas Raiders come to town, and I'm pretty sure everybody is aware this is a must-win game for the Detroit Lions. Mathematically speaking, is it a must-win game? No. Psychology-wise, is it a must-win game for the Detroit Lions? I'm going to say yes. They need to make sure they can do everything in their power, in their ability to come out here and get a win against the Las Vegas Raiders. Because if they do that, they're going to go into the bye feeling pretty good, 6-2. A start that everybody would have said, hey, at the beginning of the preseason, yeah, that's something we could all handle, we could live with. We'd take that. Line on the game, Max, and good morning to you. I want to say the Raiders are favored to lose by like 7.5. I think there might have been a couple lines that were around 8, something along that range. But that line's going to change a lot if it is found out that Jimmy Garoppolo cannot play in this game. I'm going to say this. Garoppolo plays or not, doesn't matter. You got to put this team into the ground. You got to bury them with Jimmy Hoffa somewhere in Detroit, because that's what needs to happen. This team needs to go out there. They need to reestablish their identity. You know, you do have the factor that Minnesota won yesterday in a surprising game against the 49ers. You know, Lions still have a 2-game lead on them, but you want to make sure you keep the pressure on them. Don't forget, end of the year, we're going to play 2 or 3 games against the Minnesota Vikings. So we want to make sure those games have, basically zero meaning on the division. Hopefully their only impact would be for seeding purposes. All right, I do see that the chat is starting to wake up here a little bit. So, hey, Kevin, good morning to you too. Hope you're having a good one and make it a do one. See what I did there? Dr. Detroit, we need to make a couple moves, a D lineman, cornerback, wide receiver, a running back. Probably some truth to that. Dr. D, let me ask you, what would you prioritize? My list, man, I'm probably going defensive back and then some sort of pass rusher, whether it's a defensive end linebacker, just somebody who can be opposite Hutchinson. I know there was a lot of people out there that were talking yesterday because Washington Commanders came out and more or less, summarize here, said that they have parts for sale right now. Everything's up for sale. You want them, come get them type situation. They got a couple pieces I would go after as far as Fuller at cornerback, Chase Young or Montez Sweat. As far as somebody coming off the edge, it's just going to come down to cost. So those would probably be my biggest priorities, 1 and 2. Max, what do you got? Good morning to you too. Daz, we need to start off strong. Yeah, 100% agree. Everything you got, anything you can throw at the Raiders, throw the kitchen sink, throw your mama, throw whoever at them. You need to make sure that by halftime, this game is over. Make sure Vegas is already thinking about maybe stopping at some of the Greek town casinos or something like that. Get their mind off football and getting out of here. I just think, if, again, we go into the bye 6-2, we're going to feel pretty good, heal up, because let's also be fair, the Lions are starting to get a little healthy. My anticipation is after the bye, that's going to be as healthy as you're going to be the rest of the year. I mean, this team really could be something. I'm also thinking that there's a strong opportunity for Houston to come back after the bye. Who knows beyond that? I don't think CJ is going to be back for, I'm guessing at the least mid-December, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, you guys get the point. We're going to start getting healthy and we got to win this game. Daz, and good morning to you too. Brother Ken, once again, up early. I like it. Your commitment to being on Lions Talk Live is noteworthy. Lions need to make a serious statement. They need to smoke the Raiders. I agree that. They need to come out and reestablish themselves, just to the nation, to themselves, to the division. They need to do it. All right, hit that like button. Yeah, I forgot to give this morning's spiel, but with that being said, just so I don't forget again, because I know I did yesterday, as most of you guys know, I'm a realtor. If you're looking to buy or sell property in the state of Michigan, give me a call, shoot me a text, 269-998-2384. Anywhere in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, you're looking for a new home, you want to sell your home, you want to buy a commercial property, you want to buy a condo, vacant land, you want to go hunting on that vacant land, you get it. I cover just about everything out there as far as real estate goes. So, all right, getting back to the comment section, I gave you my little brief spiel about that. All right, let's hit the like button. Yep, going through here. Kevin, yeah, got to do the do every morning, man. Yeah, it is a long time ritual. And also, don't forget, we're trying to make the push for by kickoff against Monday night, next Monday night against the Raiders to get to 3,800 subs. So if you're watching the content, if you appreciate the work, all that type of stuff, go ahead and hit that subscription button. Help us reach that goal. That'd be greatly appreciated. D-line all day, Dr. Detroit. So let me ask you guys, if we do legitimately go after a pass rusher, somebody on the edge or whatever, what are you willing to give up? Are you willing to go first or second rounder? Are you willing to only go third and below? Let me know what you guys are thinking. But I would say this. I think if we're really going to win the division, because we talked about it yesterday, I'm not writing off Minnesota's chances nor Chicago's chances. If you look at Detroit's schedule, okay, I get we all go, it looks easy. That's by the first 4 or 5 games of the season we're basing that on. Teams get better, some teams fall apart. I get it. Detroit's schedule looks favorable. I'm willing to say that. I'm also going to say you look at the Vikings schedule, it looks just as favorable. And the fact that we got to play each other twice out of the last 3 games, yeah, I would say I wouldn't write the division off from other people at least challenging us just yet. All right, Brother Ken, and pass rusher to neutralize a running quarterback. Yeah, I'm 100% with you, and I think one of the biggest regrets this regime may have is the start of the season, having Charles Harris start versus Houston. I get, I've said it left and right on this channel that he's not great in the running game, but you know what he can do? He can kill quarterbacks, and that is a rare thing in today's NFL. If you can't back him up with other people stopping the run, then I guess, I don't know, find different schemes. But in playing him on special teams where he messed up that ankle and leg, that may be another big regret. But hopefully he's back soon, and when he gets back, if we haven't made a trade for somebody else, man, I just don't see how you cannot start this guy, because when we made our big run last year, let's not forget, part of that was because Houston's emergence. That defense changed significantly because you had him coming one side, Hutchinson coming the other side. Man, it's crazy to me that he didn't start, and I kind of went off all season about it, but you guys get the point. All right, Dr. Detroit, other teams don't worry about cost. I agree. To me, I was that the group chat that Micro Mike and a bunch of the YouTube guys have. I said, hey, and this isn't breaking news or something. This is just what I would do. I put out there, if I was general manager, here is what I'd be doing right now, knowing that we've got a real opportunity to make the playoffs and make a long push. Some are going to hate this, but I'm going to tell you what I would do. It's just me. I'm giving up a first and probably a fourth to Denver to get Patrick Surtain Jr. And I'm going to tell them that you got to give me Surtain and you got to give me 2 7s. I'm going to give up a second and, gosh, I don't know, maybe a third for somebody like a Chase Young. Whether or not it's Chase Young, irrelevant to me. You're going to give me Chase Young, and you're going to give me your 5th and 6th. So I keep the same amount of draft picks. I can still bring in younger, inexperienced, lesser expensive bodies to help fill out rosters. I'm going to make a strong push for this year. Why? They're both fairly young. Patrick Surtain is still on a rookie year for 2.5 years. But man, here's your window of opportunity. You got about 2-3 years. Beyond that, it's hard to predict in the NFL. You need to do everything you can to win the division this year, win a home playoff game or 2, and make a strong push for the Super Bowl. Figure the rest of the stuff out later. You still have draft capital, but that's what I threw out at them. And I also said this is why I'm probably not the Detroit Lions general manager, but that's that defense would be pretty legit. The offense would have some pressure taken off them, and you still get the same number of draft picks, but not obviously as high. All right, yeah, 49ers lost last night. Yeah, they looked my opinion, they looked a little lost themselves. They look like they've lost some of their mojo. One Funky, good morning to you. We should just revamp the whole team. Let's wait on that one. Yeah, let's not blow them up just yet, man. Yeah, 49ers did lose last night. Yes. Arction, I think this is the time Brad needs to give up a little more money or capital to get someone really good. He's been very frugal, which I love, but we need a game changer. And that's kind of where I was going with my ideas on the giving up the draft picks. You'd still have the same number of draft picks, but they're going to be in different spots. So you're going to be really relying upon, in my scenario, for a year, having to have your scouts hit home runs with lesser cost, younger players that other people missed. And to be fair, Brad Holmes has done a pretty good job of that, along with the scouting department in Detroit. But I would say this: you've got an opportunity here, and I wouldn't just sit back and be passive with it. That's at least not how I'm wired. All right, One Funky, mid-December at the earliest, most likely January if he's back at all. I'm guessing you're talking about CJ, but yeah, that's about where I'm thinking, that middle of December he'll be back. And how, if nothing else at that point, he's adding depth to the defense and the secondary in particular. Action, after MCDC's presser yesterday, I think the Lions are going to practice this week and play Monday angry and violent. This was the most determined I've heard him. Yeah, I'll say this for him, man. I mean, you guys know I've said there's something to be. You can tell with less experienced coaches where they can get beat, where they can get caught off guard with. The one thing I would say MCDC has going for him, and you guys know it, I get it, is, man, he's driven. He's passionate about what he does. He takes it personal. He really wants to succeed. He wants the team to succeed, and he's all in all the time. I've got no questions about him or the staff when it comes to that. They're working their tail off trying to make this thing work. They're aware of some of the pressure on him, the whole shebang. And yeah, I would say this: he's going to do everything he can do to make himself better as a coach and help the other coaches and players develop as well. So to your point, I really think, I think we're going to come out guns blazing on him. We'll see what shakes out, but I'm going to say right now, I'm expecting Detroit to win by like 14, 17 points. Hopefully I'm right. If I'm wrong, I hope we win by 30. So, all right, One Funky. And yeah, 49ers lost. Correct. All right, Pierce, good morning to you. I wonder if the 49ers fans are taking part in Overreaction Tuesday. Reminder, they also haven't won anything. Anyway, any updates on Montgomery? I don't anticipate him playing till after the bye. That cartilage, I'm sure it's healing, but they also want to make sure it fully heals. That way, the next time he goes out there and gets a decent size hit to the chest, that it doesn't re-aggravate it. So, yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't anticipate him playing Monday night at all. So we'll see what happens. Brent, good morning to you. I think we need to get Hutch some help and give up a second-round pick. I'm with you. I mean, it's easy to say, hey, let's hold on to the draft capital and keep this thing going. I get that. But I also get, in the NFL, unlike any other sport, careers change so rapidly. I mean, if you don't play video games, I'd put it this way. Go play Madden football for a second. Go back 3 years ago. Look at the ratings on players then and the ones that are still around. How many of them are still relevant? It's just the amount of impact these guys take on their body and how quickly that affects their athleticism is astronomical. And that's why I'm saying you've got this year, next year, and then maybe a third year. Take advantage of it while you got it, because being safe and conservative, in my opinion, unless you're talking about financial investing or something, it just rarely pays off. You'll be good enough to be relevant. You won't be good enough to be great. And you're going to have to be great to make a big run in the playoffs, let alone get the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. So I'm all in. You got enough pieces here. Finish the deal. Go get one or two more players. If you can get two elite players that completely change the defense or the offense, whatever I guess you're going to go after, go for it. Because I'll use the 90s Lions as an example. They had good players all over the board, everywhere. They just didn't have playmakers or enough great players. And when they got to the playoffs, they would lose to teams that had 2 or 3 or 4 great players and then some good players with them. They just couldn't overcome that hump. And I'm saying this right now, Detroit's pretty good. Get over that hump and make them great. Probably went on too long there, but sorry about that, guys. All right, Gary, what do you got? I feel the Lions are still a year or two away from claiming a Super Bowl. Their core players have 0-2 years of experience. It's going to take time to learn how to win it all. And there's some truth to that. They do have a very young and inexperienced team. I mean, heck, Penei Sewell is only, 23? I think he just turned 23. That's crazy because they got him when he was 19 or whatever. But, yeah, they need a few more pieces. And that's kind of my thoughts on if you give up this year's draft stuff, you won't give up all the picks, but you'll give up some of your higher end picks. Go after some young but great players now, ones that you already know at the NFL level are great, and change that team. Okay, Don, what I got? Okay, I'm here. Just left 49ers fans feeling them humble. Yeah, and hey, losses like that, 2 in a row, it's one of the best lines in coaching. Don't let one loss become 2 losses. And I didn't watch a ton of the game last night. I watched a little bit. 49ers looked incredibly flat to me. They didn't look very aggressive or assertive on offense. And yeah, I mean, like my girlfriend, she's not much of a football person. She is slowly learning begrudgingly. But she asked me, so who do you want to win? And I said, really, for the Lions' sake, we want them both to win and both to lose. 49ers lost. Okay, they stay even with us. Vikings loss. They stay 3 games behind us. So yeah, it's last night was a good and bad result for Lions fans. All right, one funky, give them a first and a third for Surtain and Nick Bono. Yeah, we've got to get something going. I think, because again, you look at the Eagles yesterday, they're acquiring players. They are preparing themselves for another run. You can say what you want about the Rafts and, skip them picks and all that stuff, but they went all in to get the job done. And when they went after Von Miller, I think they were aware that they might have an opportunity to not make the playoffs, let alone get the Super Bowl. So what draft capital they had left for that year, they gave up for Von Miller. They went after him. And really, while they may not be a Super Bowl contender this year, they've rebuilt fairly quickly. You could even look at our own regime and say, when they took over, we were horrible. And it took about a year and a half for them to rebuild. Now, admittedly, they did it with draft picks and stuff, but it can be done. Dr. D, I agree. Surtain and Chase would be good. And just how different would that defense then be? Because, all right, let's theorize this for a second. You got Cam Sutton, Surtain on the corners. Now Jerry Jacobs, who's developed very nicely, is your number 3 corner. I guess you could say number 3 or 4 with Brian Branch, could play safety or corner. You put Kirby Joseph and either Branch at safety. And it's not that I don't like Tracy Walker. It's just I don't think his coverage skills are great. So that's, to me, part of the problem. Plus, man, that secondary just be off the charts. But now that you're talking the front 7, all right, you got Aiden Hutchinson. You got Houston. You got Chase Young. You can rotate those guys a little bit. You got Kaminsky and McNeil. I mean, obvious passing downs. I'd put all 4 of those dudes on the field. Whatever you want to call it, the Mountain Dew package. Get after that quarterback, man. All right, Pierce, what do you got? Dan, any odds Max Crosby just stays in Detroit after Monday? I'd be all for it, man. I'd have Detroit, front office personnel, just Raiders pull in, just, say, pull them aside and just say, hey, you guys all go get dressed. You're not leaving this building. Leave your bags here. We're going to escort you over to your office. But they do need to get somebody like that opposite Hutchinson. And then, yeah, this sort of I was saying with Chase Young, this defense goes to a whole nother level. You need to do something because you've got to get something happening opposite Hutchinson. You've got to get more aggressive. And, you guys heard me talk about it yesterday in the post-game show. That defense was so bland, non-assertive, only reactionary. I get, okay, my personality and coaching style for defense doesn't have to be everybody's. But man, oh man, when you let people just sit back and do what they want to do, they're probably going to be a heck of a lot more successful. You get after people, make them panic a little bit, throw something half a second faster than they want to, whatever it may be, they're going to be less successful. And I'm going to say this, Pierce, get somebody like Crosby or Young or whoever that can get in there and cause ruckus, get in there and destroy offensive play schemes. Goff, I think, is a good quarterback. He's revitalized his career, but he didn't look great Sunday. And part of that was the Ravens did what? They got in his face. They busted up the plays, the timings, and everything. And once you hit somebody once or twice, knock them on the floor, they start getting that inner clock going a little bit faster, feeling a little bit rushed, a little bit under pressure. Yeah. Max, would I go after both? If you mean Patrick Surtain and Crosby or Chase Young or something like that, yeah. Secondary help and opposite side, Aiden Hutchinson, pass rusher, somebody like that. I'd be all in on it. And again, part of those trades, though, to me, I'm giving up. So for Patrick Surtain, I'm giving up a first and a third to get him. You're giving me him, and you're giving me a seventh. And if you got a sixth to throw in, I need the same amount of draft picks, because then I can still bring in the same mathematical amount of players on rookie deals to help with the depth on the roster, the practice squad, things like that. All right, Brother Ken, Dan, you're a businessman. You have to spend money to make money. You're not wrong, man. If they were giving it away, it'd be easy. But that's what I'm saying. You got an opportunity here. And this has nothing to do with what happened Sunday. But you've got an opportunity to make this season a special one. Don't play passive. Don't be conservative. Go out there and seize the opportunity. Don't sit there with regret at the end of the year going, I wish I would have. That's me, though. All right, Don, what do you got? Y'all know good and well Brad Holmes not going to bring in two studs. I know, man. I know. But that, again, I did say that's what I would do, because I'm aggressive. I'm assertive. I don't care if I throw a pick. I'm going to keep throwing the ball, though. And that's my personality, either as a coach or business individual, whatever you want to say. So one funky, what do you got? Don, I know, bud. All right. I trust in Brad. Yeah. And we all should smoke you some. We all should. I mean, he's done a great job of things. Don, no, 2, no, 1, I think yes this time. Yeah, I mean, do I think they'll go out and get both or two different players? Probably not. Could they get one? That could happen, but time is ticking. I mean, that trade deadline is coming on up. Now, the good part is it kind of also lines up with our bye. So if you do bring somebody in, they've got time to acclimate before our first game after the bye at San Diego, I want to say. Don, I trust Brad as well. Yeah, I mean, we all should. I would say he's earned it at this point. R, what do you got? And good morning to you, R. I don't think we need a big-time receiver, just a DJ Shark-type player to open up the offense. Yeah, and, Reynolds has done a pretty good job. J-Mo, he's got to keep developing. He's had some opportunities here and there. I will say last week in Baltimore, while some of the he could have made a couple plays on some balls, some of those balls weren't the greatest throws to him ever, but it is what it is. You get an opportunity, you got to make the play. Max, I agree on trades. Rookies won't help us that much. They'll all be backups like Jamar. Yeah. And kind of also my point. You give up a first and, a third or whatever for Surtain, and I'm not saying it has to be for Surtain, but realistically, that player you're getting at the end of the first round, at least if we, finish the season out strong, the chance of getting someone of his quality at that point. So really, I guess that's part of my thinking too. You're giving up some draft picks, but they're going to be not as valuable as perhaps we're used to for first rounders. Answer 14. Good morning to you too. A road bump for sure. I think the coaches learn when this happens. We seem to get out schemed. Sunday. Yeah. And, you and I, we've talked about it. You can see where their experience still shows up. And yeah, again, older, more experienced coaches are finding things they've missed, and they don't always know how to react to it. Though they're getting experience, they're getting better as coaches, just like the players are getting better. But it does take time, man. All right, Max, players were in a funk too. Yeah, they were. going on the road all the time, getting, pumped up for every game. At some point, that adrenaline just doesn't kick in like it once did. So, but I'm going to guess Ford Field Monday, all the fans there playing at home, getting embarrassed the week before, they'll be ready to come on out. All right, Don Pierce, totally agree. We'll be fine, just fine, folks. Niners just took a loss. PJ, FXL, Walker, and Kirk Cousins back to back week. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and 49ers, yeah, they've run into a bit of a patch here, and they need to kind of adjust. Pierce, second and third for Crosby all day. He fits our culture. And we'll see if Brad Holmes does it, but my guess is by the end of this weekend, we'll know if he's going to go for somebody. All right, Lions Talk with the bad guy, John Kapler. One of the early subscribers, by the way, to Lions Talk Live. I think the next couple of games we kill and win. Yeah, if we can, I'll say this: we win Monday, go into the bye, get 2 weeks to get ready for San Diego. We get that, and then we're 7-2. We've got a stretch of games. I'm not ever going to say we will win, all those games because things happen. I mean, just look at the 49ers. But we're set up to be in potential to win those games, and I like it. All right, Pierce, what do you got? Dan, I was in camp I'm actually happy that this happened. The young guys needed some humble pie, honestly. Yeah, you're probably 100% right. A lot of times people get worked up. We're all going to hear the news. It's inescapable nowadays, whether you listen to stuff on YouTube or wherever you go. You're going to hear about how great you are or whatever if you're a Lions fan. And now you're going to hear the opposite for 7 days that, man, we're overrated, blah, 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 this, that, the other thing. So hopefully they rebound nicely from it. Scott, good morning to you. Like something thought, like the D-line won as well. Got a window. Let's take it. Next year isn't guaranteed to be better, so get it now. Lions fan have been waiting. Also, Derrick Henry for a fourth. Man, I tell you this. The way you're constructed and how much Goff needs, the offensive line needs, all that for the running game to produce. A week or so ago, I probably said no, but now I might be saying yes just because Montgomery has missed a couple of games because of injuries. So is Gibbs. You may need a legit third option because, let's not forget Baltimore basically said skip the run. They weren't worried about the run. We're going all out getting to the quarterback on every play. When we did play action, they didn't bite on it at all because they weren't worried about it. And, as the game went on, some of that was just because of the score. You weren't going to get back into the game just running the ball against them. So you might have a good point. And if Tennessee's selling, I might make that call. So, Gary, would you take any other coach in Detroit right now if you had a choice? Probably not, just because what MCDC's done for the culture here, the players. I mean, you would lose the locker room. I'd say this: even if you brought in, Art Shell or some longtime greats from the NFL, Vince Lombardi, whoever. You bring him in right now. Those guys are wired to Dan Campbell, and to be honest, he's probably the greatest turnaround coach we've had since Wayne Fontes. Wayne Fontes was different, but where they were similar is they're both player coaches. They could both, do something to motivate people. You take him out of the mix, at least right now for a year or so, you would lose that locker room, and I think the season would tank. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, Don Pierce, I told my coworkers that it's good to be humbled all the way to the top three teams. Was getting to these guys, young guys, heard it, I think. Yeah, all of a sudden you got Stephen A. Smith on ESPN saying, I think the Lions are the best team. They're going to win the Super Bowl, stuff like that. But how quickly things can change. Remember this, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we're all saying Minnesota's dead. They're not so dead as they once were. I mean, we still got a lead on them, and we can control our own fate. But my point being that these guys, even if you're on 0-15, these guys want to win. They're professionals. They got pride. They got egos. They're going to fight. They're not going to phone it in. Maybe if it was like the last week or two of the season and a team knows they have no chance in playoffs, that might change. But the other part of that is too, even when your team's 0-16, some of those guys know they're not going to be with that particular team the next year. They're playing to have film. They're playing to have, an opportunity to sign with somebody else. So don't write anybody off. All right, answer 14. Max Crosby would be a great fit. He also gets max money. Hard to juggle it all. Yeah, they would have to do some figuring out with stuff there. They probably have to do some contract restructures as well. So, Chris Mason, good morning to you. So, have a good one. And Burns and Allen, that wouldn't be a bad combo. Chris, here's my thought, though. What are you having to give up to get both of them, though? That would be I guess something we'd all have to consider. But yeah, those are two great players. If they don't trade for a pass rusher, Holmes must feel James Houston will be healthy soon. Yeah, I'm thinking after the bye, he's probably back. If not, he's got to be pretty dang close. So you're going to have to get through this next game. If it's me, I'm going all out. Blitzburg, getting after Garoppolo or whoever the quarterback's going to be for Vegas. The only worry I have with our blitzes is, man, like watching Sundays when we did blitz, I get you want to sometimes run delayed blitzes, but they've got to get home faster than that, and coverage has got to hold up. You also, when you're covering, can't play 50 feet off, but that's stories for another time. All right, Don, what do you got? No Danielle Hunter for last night's game. He's staying put. Yeah, they're in the mix still. So you gave them a reason to believe that they can, still make the playoffs or fight for the division. Yeah, they're not going to sell parts as of yet. All right, Pierce, what do you got? Dan, I said the same thing to my coworkers. Young guys need to know adversity. Yeah, and they're learning. What do we got? Pierce, Hunter coming in the offseason. They'll probably look to add some more parts this offseason. Remember, some of the free agents like CJ are 1-year deals. Emmanuel Mosley was 1-year deals. So, if those guys don't return this year, then yeah, we're already looking to replace them. Basil, good morning to you. I thought Brad Holmes said they are not rebuilding phase. He said we are ready to compete. So might not be surprised if he gets a player before the trade deadline. I think there's a real strong possibility they go after someone. It's just the good part for Detroit is where the trade deadline is and where our bye week are. They line up pretty well. So you bring somebody in, you've got an extended time to get them adjusted and acclimated to the terminology, formations, etc. So I think there's a strong chance, but we'll all know within 7 days. Don, Pierce possibly. Okay. All right. Pierce, what do you got? Answer 14. He has an out after next year where we restructure the deal. Correct? I'm more worried about coaching than the players for going deep in playoffs. Yeah, and the coaches are going to have to develop. They're going to have to have less weaknesses that they can get exposed with. And unfortunately, the 2 losses this year, you guys heard me talk about it, are against more experienced veteran coaches, and they find what you miss because they see it a little bit faster. And it is what it is. All right, now with 80 to 100 million cap space next offseason, we can make it happen. Yeah, we'd have some money for some stuff, but deal with that in the offseason. Lions talk. What do we got? The history of Monday night, and the Lions will have us motivated to win on top of everything else. Yeah, I gotta imagine, John, that you're right. We're gonna go in there guns blazing, looking to win by a hefty margin. Mark Spindler flat. All right, Mark Spindler. That's a name from the past. All right, Don Burr, Basil, getting a player isn't the question. We will get a player, but it's a dollar store shopping for Charles Harris again. Or are we going to sack Fifth Avenue and get some premium goods is the question. My thoughts on it, guys. I told you what I would do. And even if it's not for those particular players, people of that ability level. And that's where they've got to go. They've got to go and try to don't be good, be great. You're going to have to match great with great. You're going to have some superior firepower on offense and defense when you do face some of these more experienced coaches that can help augment some of your deficiencies as a coach. And that's where I guess they're going to have to decide what to do. And hey, that clock's ticking. 7 days. Don, first we have to sign St. Brown, Goff, Sewell, also. Yeah, that cap's going to get ate up pretty quick with some of the guys that we're going to want to retain of our own. Sewell has got the option, can put that down 1 year. Yeah, there's, when it comes to that type of stuff, they'll figure out the salary cap. I hate to break it to y'all, but Brad Holmes showed us at the draft he ain't a ton superstars passer on Carter. Why trade for a name that's going to help when he could have drafted that, a Carter or Porter Jr.? The only thing I'll say about that, John, is Brad Holmes, for the most part, it's hard to really find fault with any of his drafts. And I get we're all looking at Gibbs right now and Cantville and saying, well, man, they're not doing this, that, the other thing. The other part of it is neither one of them are starters because the better players in front of them. That also being said, Jack Campbell did basically start last week, and his snaps have gone up more and more. Gibbs obviously did start because of the injury. So 2 out of the games this year, Gibbs has started. Maybe they felt that they were going to need another legitimate running back to come on in. But then if you did that, why'd you get rid of Swift? But I don't know, man. I'm not going to fault the guy's drafts. I mean, he's done a pretty good job. It's easy to look back and say, hey, we all should have drafted Tom Brady. Every team in the league is saying that, just like, countless other players who, sneak past or whatever. All right, win. Are the Vikings still looking like 2 easy wins? No, and we talked about that yesterday. I think the Vikings and the Bears are developing. They're getting better, and I wouldn't call them easy anything. Green Bay, who knows, man? You catch them on the wrong day, maybe they can compete with you. I just think they've got a lot of weaknesses that meet our strengths, where Chicago and Minnesota have a lot of strengths that meet some of our weaknesses. I still think we can beat both teams. So, I do think we can get the wins. But would I be surprised if we lost a game to one or both of them? No, I wouldn't. I just don't think they're as dead as everybody says they are. Maybe I should have just said that. All right, Pierce and Don, I think Goff is just being appreciated and will realize that he needs to take less to build the team. Hope you're right, man. Hope he takes a $5 deal every year, but that's probably not happening. All right, the only thing low-level player that can coach him up, second, third stringers, make coaches, can maybe him a potential rotational starter. Low capital, I promise y'all. Well, we'll see what shakes out. Don, not the Carter take again. Yeah, let's move on from that, man. I mean, would I have taken him? I'll just say probably, but doesn't matter. This is what we got. And like I've also said before, even if we take Carter at number 6, do we now not get Laporta or Branch? So there's that side of it too, because you take somebody off the board in a different spot, that changes other teams' drafts. I'm happy with what we got. Pierce, I like those takes. All right, you guys are getting going here. All right, Don, remember that Goff got his money already. Now he wants to win. 3rd contract for him. It's true. He's made some money, and he's probably not crying over his contract, but we'll see what happens. But again, it's something that may happen sooner versus later. May happen over the bye. Feels just can't get past the draft. Walk away. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're just moving on from it. JP, good morning to you. Hello. Yeah, and hello to you too. All right, you guys got a definite chat going here. Almost 7 months. Yeah, you guys are all right. Moving on. Players were embarrassed, JP. They don't want to do that again. Bad game. They happen. Don't let it become a habit. Yeah, and I would say this. Get after, what you can control. You can't control the past. You can't change what happened. Here's what you can do. And I said it yesterday. I'd be giving my coach's speech. I'd be saying, hey, skip that game. We're moving on to this game. These guys talked about you. They talked bad about you. They're coming into your house. We're getting after the Raiders. When we sack that other team, you're going to run up in the stands and sack their family too. Get after that quarterback. Beat up that old line. You do what you can to fire those guys up and get them motivated. Maybe tell them, hey, when you guys win Monday night, I'm buying everybody around the Mountain Dew at the Circle K. So do what you got to do to fire them up. But this is a must-win game Monday night because of the psychology of it. You lose 2 in a row and then go into the bye where you basically have another 2 weeks to just sit on it, that's going to do a lot of damage to your team psyche. So come out here, kick them where it hurts. Do what you got to do. Run some trick plays. Man, run the score up on them. Even that's not professional, but you got a chance in the fourth quarter to go up 30. Put them up 30, man. Apologize after the game. Say, hey, I got to do this for my team, points, whatever you got to do. But you do what you can to protect your team mentally. You get them ready so when they go into that bye, they get some time to relax. But that body heals a whole lot faster on positive energy than it does negative. So get them going and get ready for the second half of the season. Went on a little bit there, didn't I? All right, Kevin, we saw the Vikings bring pressure all night last night. It definitely made Purdy make some bad choices. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you're not always going to get home with the blitz, but like when I talk to coaches and I go to like coaching camps, whatever, and hey, what do you do in this situation, that situation, whatever? My philosophy is this: we're going to get burnt sometimes on some of these, blitzes or whatever. That's irrelevant. We're also going to take away half your playbook because half the plays you want to run, you no longer can because your quarterback doesn't have that kind of time. Whoever's got the ball for you, they can't do that. So now that we've taken away half your possibilities, we can focus on what we're going to do to defend these possibilities. Now, if we get some hits on your guy, they start getting a little rattled. They stop moving so well. They start throwing a little faster. I mean, you guys already heard me talk about this, but get after people, man. Passive defenses, man. Just it gets under my skin. I'll put it that way. All right, I looked at Crosby's contract breakdown. There's a team out there next year where we can redo the deal and create flexibility. Yeah, I mean, any league, NBA, NFL, whatever it is, you can find stuff to do. There's always a way to fix a contract to work for you. All right, anything talking about the draft? I'm not addressing yet. Let's just move on from the draft stuff, guys. It's over. We can't change it unless you're talking about next year's draft. Let's get through this season first. It's 14. I hope he's going to be okay. Guy just can't get a break. Yeah, man, you got to feel for him. His first chance at an NFL game. And my guess is that's unfortunately probably the end of his career. So hopefully I'm wrong. All right. Well, it's about that time, I'm thinking, guys. So time for me to go get the due. Hey, Phil, good morning to you. Let's hope you're wrong on Lions losing the next 4 games. Let's hope that doesn't happen. MCDC all the way. Phil losing his mind. Yeah, I'm hoping he's just being funny there. Maybe he had the all diet Mountain Dew. I don't know. Gideon Campbell, I think they have one of the few personnel sets that can scheme that way against us. Cover Laporta very well and collapse the pocket, among other things. Yeah, and to your point, I think Baltimore's defense is pretty legit. But you're going to have to do some things schematically to beat it because now that teams have seen this, it is a copycat league. Other teams are going to try it. And if you're not ready for it, you're going to be in problems. All right, so I'll let you guys get going on with the rest of your day. If I do hear some breaking news, of course, I'll let you guys know. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so by kickoff next Monday night. We'd like to try to get the channel to 3,800 subs. I need you guys to help me, help you, help me. We get to 5,000 subs. We're going to do a tailgate. 10,000 subs. We're going to do a tailgate and provide food for you guys free of charge. So, all right. I'll talk to you guys soon. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.